Xiao Yan set off for the Pill Tower, persuading the formation of an alliance to confront the Soul Hall, only to discover that the Pill Tower's ancestor was in fact a ninth-grade mysterious pill. Continuing from the previous chapter, the battle at the Falling Star Pavilion came to a resounding conclusion with Xiao Yan's emergence. This great war undoubtedly propelled Xiao Yan and the prestige of the Falling Star Pavilion to the pinnacle of the Central Plains. In contrast to the glorious victory of the Falling Star Pavilion, the situation of the Abyss River Alliance was extremely bleak. Many of the strong followers perished in the Star Realm, and in this panic, many sects originally affiliated with the Abyss River Alliance began to feel uneasy, with some even hastily withdrawing and severing their ties with the Abyss River Alliance. While the Central Plains were in an uproar due to the Star Realm War, the Falling Star Pavilion was relatively calm. However, the calm lasted only 3 days before the Falling Star Pavilion's retaliation officially began. Faced with the counterattack led by Xiao Yan and the two Do Shang strongmen, the Heavenly Demon Phoenix and the Pill Master, the Abyss River Alliance almost completely collapsed and was occupied by the Falling Star Pavilion and most of its sects without forming an effective resistance. When the sect master of the Heavenly Abyss sect was easily killed by Xiao Yan with a single palm, everyone understood that this sect, famous in the Central Plains, had completely perished. After breaking through the Abyss River Alliance, the main force dispersed and attacked those sects with strong influence in the Abyss River Alliance, especially the Ice River Valley and the Wind Lightning Pavilion. These forces were the claws of the Heavenly Abyss sect, and they would certainly not be easily let go this time. In the sky above the Wind Lightning Pavilion, Xiao Yan coldly watched the mountains that were in chaos and in flames. At this moment, there was no trace of pity in his heart, because he understood that if he had not emerged from the closed door in time that day, the fate of the Falling Star Pavilion would be 100 times more miserable than these people. In midair, the Dozun of Thunder, who was hit by a strong man from the Falling Star Pavilion and spat blood and flew backward, glared at Xiao Yan and said, "Xiao Yan, the Wind Lightning Pavilion has a close relationship with the Heavenly Demon Phoenix clan. If you destroy my pavilion, the Heavenly Demon Phoenix clan will never let you go." Xiao Yan responded lightly, "Heavenly Demon Phoenix clan? The grudges between me and them will come to a conclusion sooner or later." The first time he came to the Wind Thunder Mountain Range, the Dozun strong man in front of him was an existence that he could not reach. But now, the status of both sides has completely reversed unconsciously. Xiao Yan said, "There are a total of 28 strong men in my Falling Star Pavilion who died at your hands. When you killed them, you should have thought that you would also have such a day." Then Xiao Yan slowly stretched out his palm towards the Dozun of Thunder. Seeing this scene, the face of the Dozun of Thunder suddenly changed greatly, and the 3000 Thunder movement was instantly played to the extreme. Looking at the residual images, Xiao Yan smiled lightly, and his palm still gently clenched down. 3000 Thunder movement, right? As his palm tightened, a residual image in the distance suddenly solidified, and the Dozun of Thunder even failed to let out a scream. Xiao Yan slowly retracted his palm, glanced around, and saw an elder of the Falling Star Pavilion quickly flying over, respectfully saying, "Young master, the Han family you want to inquire about has news." For some reason, they seem to have been suppressed by the Wind Lightning Pavilion frequently in recent years, and the family's power has been reduced by 90%, and they can only become a second-rate family in Tianbei City, and the situation is very miserable. Upon hearing this, Xiao Yan was slightly stunned, and then a trace of apology flashed through his eyes. The reason why the Han family was suppressed was probably mostly because of the close relationship with him at the beginning. Over the years, he has been focusing on cultivation and has forgotten the trouble this relationship has brought to the Han family. The elder of the Falling Star Pavilion responded respectfully, "Elder Qian and the other 3 have already gone to the Han family." In the Han family of Tianbei City, the people of the Han family were stunned to look at the 3 elders who suddenly appeared. Their aura was powerful, and with a slight wave of their sleeves, they shook several strong men who came to make trouble and made them spit blood and fall in the courtyard. A somewhat pale middle-aged man came forward cautiously and said respectfully, "I am Han Qi, the head of the Han family. Why have the 3 elders come to visit?" Next to the man stood 2 slender women, who were Han Yu and Han Shui of the Han family, and they were also the first acquaintances Xiao Yan met when he first arrived in the Central Plains. An old man with gray hair said with a smile, "Hee, the head of the Han family does not need to be polite. We are people from the Falling Star Pavilion, and we have come on the order of the young master. I don't know if the head of the Han family is interested in making the Han family the new Wind Lightning Pavilion in the Northern Domain." Upon hearing this, the people of the Han family were stunned, and Han Shui behind Han Qi trembled slightly and whispered, "Falling Star Pavilion? This name is known to everyone in the Central Plains today." The old man with gray hair said, "From today on, there will be no Wind Lightning Pavilion in the Northern Domain, and if the Han family is interested, they can take its place. The three of us will do our best to help." Hearing this, Han Qi was stunned, and then his body trembled violently, and his face was filled with excitement and joy. Seeing Han Qi so excited, the old man with gray hair comforted him. "Rest assured, this is a promise made by the young master himself, and there will be no false." Han Shui, who was on the side, bit her red lips and asked, "Isn't he coming?" Hearing this, the elder of the Falling Star Pavilion hesitated, and then shook his head. Then he took out 2 jade bottles from the storage ring and handed them to Han Shui and Han Yu. "This is what the young master asked me to pass on to you, to thank Miss Han Shui for saving his life." Han Shui took the jade bottle with a dim look in her eyes and didn't speak, but quietly stepped back. Seeing this, Han Yu sighed softly, knowing that her sister has always had Xiao Yan in her heart, but at this time, his brilliance is too dazzling, and such a man is not something they can subdue. The revenge of the Falling Star Pavilion lasted for nearly 10 days, during which at least 20 sects were wiped out under the attack of the army of the Falling Star Pavilion. During this period of fierce revenge, the Soul Hall was unusually calm and did not send any strong men to help the Abyss River Alliance. But Xiao Yan and others did not relax their vigilance. The Soul Hall has always been unpredictable, and this silence is likely to be accumulating power, waiting for the right moment to give the Falling Star Pavilion a fatal blow. In order to truly confront the Soul Hall, the matter of the Alliance has become urgent. The Flower Sect and the Flame-Burning Valley have both agreed to the Alliance. In the main hall of the Falling Star Pavilion, Xiao Yan heard the report of the 2 elders and suddenly stood up, his face full of joy. "Everything is difficult at the beginning. With this good start, the next things will be easier." The Flower Sect and the Flame-Burning Valley both have a strong reputation in the Central Plains, and their joining will undoubtedly greatly enhance the momentum of the Alliance, even surpassing the Abyss River Alliance at the beginning. It was unexpected that things could go so smoothly, and the Yao Lao said with a smile, stroking his beard, "After all, the Soul Hall is not an ordinary force, and it takes great courage to stand against them." Kai Lin asked, "When will we meet with the 2 sects to discuss the specific matters of the Alliance?" The Yao Lao shook his head slowly, not in a hurry. Although the problems of the Flower Sect and the Flame-Burning Valley have been solved, it is not enough. To confront the Soul Hall, we must attract the Pill Tower. Otherwise, it will still be very difficult. To persuade them, Xiao Yan and I must go there in person. Hearing this, Kai Lin nodded and then said, "Well, I will take care of the Falling Star Pavilion. Things have been settled for a while, and there should be no problems. When do you plan to start?" The Yao Lao said, "It's best to do it now." With the decision, Xiao Yan and the Yao Lao did not delay any longer, simply sorted out and went directly to the Dan City. Entering the Holy Dan City, Xiao Yan and the 2 did not stop because of the prosperity here, but went straight into the Pill Tower. In the hall on the top floor of the Pill Tower, Xiao Yan and the Yao Lao sat in it, and a Pill Tower elder quickly left to inform the 3 giants of the Pill Tower. Seeing this, the Yao Lao said with a smile, "The 3 of them are quite arrogant now." Hearing this, Xiao Yan also smiled, knowing that the Yao Lao had a good relationship with the 3 giants of the Pill Tower, so he didn't say much. The hall was quiet for a while, and then it was broken by a loud laugh. "Ha ha, it's really a rare guest, a rare guest." Xin Kongzi walked in with a big smile, followed by Tian Leizi and Xin Yi, and the eyes of the 2 were a bit excited to look at the Yao Lao in the hall. The Yao Lao looked at the 3 people and said with a smile, "Long time no see, everything is fine?" Xin Kongzi and the others stood in front of the Yao Lao, staring at that familiar face, and after a while, he sighed and patted the Yao Lao on the shoulder. I really didn't expect to see you again in this life. Seeing the three people like this, the Yao Lao's smile became more and more rich, and he also patted the former on the shoulder, then turned to Xianyi and said, "It's been many years. You are still so good-looking, not like us a few old guys." Hearing this, Xianyi's cheeks suddenly turned slightly red, and this girlish situation made Xiao Yan marvel in secret. It is obvious that this giant of the Pill Tower still has affection for the Yao Lao. Xin Kongzi asked, "You must have something important to come to the Pill Tower this time, right?" Hearing this, the Yao Lao nodded, pondered for a while, and then narrated the matter of the alliance in detail. After listening to what the Yao Lao said, the brows of Xin Kongzi and the other three people all wrinkled and said, "The matter of the alliance may be a bit difficult, and you also know the character of those stubborn old guys in the Pill Tower." Xianyi said on one side, "If the ancestor was here, this matter would be much simpler. His old man's word can decide the result." The Yao Lao asked, "Has that old guy disappeared again?" Xin Kongzi and the other three people all nodded with a wry smile, and then said, "He has been missing for a long time, and there has been no news for many years. If it weren't for his soul jade slip is still intact, we would think he had encountered some kind of disaster." Xiao Yan, who was on one side, asked curiously when he heard the three people talking, "Who was the ancestor of the Pill Tower?" Xin Kongzi pondered for a while and then continued to say, "This ancestor can be said to be one of the founders of the Pill Tower, and he is also the most experienced person in the Pill Tower. His every word and deed has a significant impact on the decision-making of the Pill Tower. If he approves of this alliance, then everything will be smooth. But if he opposes this matter, there is no hope. The ancestor likes to hide in the world, and even we three have only seen him once in so many years. And his favorite thing is to be reborn as an ordinary baby, and then grow up, live a lifetime with a new identity. Until that body is old and dies, he will leave. In his own words, this is to experience life." Xiao Yan looked at Xin Kongzi's face with a wry smile, and was too surprised to speak. Kongzi stared at Xiao Yan and said softly, "The ancestor is not human. His true body is actually a pill." Xiao Yan suddenly felt a tingling on his scalp, and his mouth twitched involuntarily. After a while, he lowered his voice and said in a low voice, "The legendary imperial grade pill? Generally, as long as the pill has been baptized by the nine-colored pill thunder, they can have spiritual intelligence, but most of these pills will become animal-shaped, and some of the legendary ninth-grade pills can become human-shaped. Imperial grade pills were extremely rare in ancient times, not to mention now, how could someone refine it?" Xin Kongzi was not surprised by Xiao Yan's shocked reaction. He was also shocked for a long time when he first learned about the true body of the ancestor. Xin Kongzi said with a smile, "The predecessor who refined the ancestor was also one of the founders of the Pill Tower, but unfortunately, he has passed away. In the last year of his life, he devoted all his energy to refining a pill. When the pill was successful, he also exhausted his energy and fell in dismay. But at the moment of his death, a wisp of divine consciousness merged into the ninth-grade mysterious pill in a strange way, making this pill, which reached the level of a ninth-grade mysterious pill, mutate. Later, this pill became human-shaped and did not leave the Pill Tower, but stayed as a guardian. Over time, the ancestor has saved the Pill Tower from the brink of destruction many times. Later, his status in the Pill Tower was unparalleled, but he was not interested in the affairs of the Pill Tower. Once the Pill Tower was stable, he disappeared and no one could find him." Hearing this, Xiao Yan wiped the sweat from his forehead, and he didn't expect the origin of the ancestor of the Pill Tower to be so strange, and he was also very clear about the level division of the ninth-grade pills. The ninth grade is divided into 3 levels of treasure pills, mysterious pills, and golden pills. Most of the ninth grade pills that can be seen are at the level of treasure pills. Mysterious pills are almost untraceable, and as for the legendary ninth grade golden pills, they may only have appeared in ancient times. And above the ninth grade golden pills is the legendary imperial pill. This kind of pill seems to be no one can refine it on the current continent. Xianyi added on one side, "Forget it, let's not talk too much about the ancestor. He has been missing for many years, and no one knows when he will appear. The ancestor is not there, and the major decisions of the Pill Tower need to be decided by the vote of the elders of the small Pill Tower. Xian Kongzi pondered for a moment and said, "There are 10 seats in the Great Elder's Court, and although the 3 of us are among them, we only have 3 votes, and the other 7 old guys are much older than us, and our words have little influence on them. But there is no way. Among the 7 elders, 2 have a deep hatred for the Soul Hall. If we can persuade the 2 of them, our votes can reach 5 votes, and it will be equal to the votes of the other elders." Hearing this, the Yao Lao's eyes flashed a trace of light. If it is 5 votes to 5 votes, there is really a glimmer of hope. Seeing this, Xian Kongzi said with a smile, "You and Xiao Yan might as well go to the small Pill Tower with us. If this matter is reported, it will definitely make those old guys a bit shaken. After all, no one has set foot there for many years." Hearing this, the Yao Lao nodded in agreement, then turned to Xiao Yan and said with a smile, "You will definitely broaden your horizons when you go there." Xian Kongzi said with a smile, "Haha, with Xiao Yan's current ability, I'm afraid it will make those old guys broaden their horizons." Then he stood up and pasted his palm on the wall, and then a wave spread from the palm, and soon a slowly rotating space passage was formed. Seeing this scene, Xiao Yan murmured in his heart, "Self-contained space? This small Pill Tower is indeed located in a space that is independently opened." After a brief transfer through the space passage, in less than a minute, the light in front of Xiao Yan suddenly became dazzling. When he opened his eyes, he found that he was standing on a towering peak. Xiao Yan's nose moved slightly and said, "What a rich smell of medicinal materials." Looking around, he was surprised to find that the whole mountain was planted with various medicinal fields, and many precious medicinal materials that are rare to see in the outside world are growing in large patches here. "This place is simply another pill realm," Xiao Yan exclaimed in his heart. Xian Kongzi explained with a smile, "These medicinal fields all belong to those elders, and they are very important to them." Then he walked forward. The group finally stopped at the top of the mountain, first arranged for the Yao Lao and Xiao Yan to stay in a simple stone house, and then they left in a hurry. A few hours later, they slowly came back. Xian Kongzi came into the house with a wry smile. His eyes fell on the 2 people and said, "There are 2 pieces of news, one good and one bad. The good news is that we can have 5 votes in favor of the alliance. The bad news is that in 3 days, it will be the day when the Elders' Court accepts the new elder, and that new elder will also have the right to vote, and the expected new elder is also a very conservative old man." After Xian Kongzi finished speaking, he looked at the Yao Lao and said helplessly, "That new elder is Elder Ho, the old guy who has always been at odds with you. If he becomes a new elder, he will definitely vote against it. And you stepped on him at the pill competition that year. That old guy has been dissatisfied with you for a long time." Tian Lazy asked in a deep voice, "What should we do now?" Xiani suggested, "There is a way, as long as we prevent Elder Ho from becoming a new elder." Hearing this, Xian Kongzi shook his head. "It's easy to say, but who can compete with Elder Ho in the current Pill Tower? The Yao Lao may be able to do it, but he left the small Pill Tower on his own initiative before, and according to the rules, he is no longer qualified to participate in the election." Hearing this, Xiani suddenly showed a strange smile, and then her gaze turned to Xiao Yan. Although the Yao Lao is not qualified, Xiao Yan is. He is the champion of the pill competition, and he is also a candidate for the next generation of the Pill Tower giant. Such an identity is enough to make him qualified to participate. It's just whether he can beat Elder Ho or not. It remains to be seen. After all, that old guy almost took the position of the pill competition champion of the Yao Chun that year. The Yao Lao nodded with a smile and said, "Well, let Xiao Yan challenge that old guy. Let him understand that not only can I, the Yao Chun, beat him, but even the disciple I have trained can also defeat him." Xiao Yan listened to their decision, but he also knew that this was related to the success or failure of the alliance, so he did not object. Xian Kongzi stood up and said with a smile, "Hee, you will live here for the next 3 days." After that, he and Xiani quickly left. When the morning of the 4th day shrouded the peak where the Pill Tower was located, this peak, which was usually a bit quiet, suddenly became lively. On the square at the top of the Pill Tower, there were many figures gathered at this time. Most of them were old men with white hair. Any one of them, if placed in the central plains, would attract countless forces to pursue. A sect would benefit greatly if it had a refiner at this level. As the figures on the square gradually became dense, the Yao Lao and Xiao Yan also boarded the square under the leadership of Xin Kongzi and the other 3 people. Many people immediately gathered around and greeted warmly. Just as he was talking to his old friends, a discordant voice suddenly rang out. "You old guy hasn't died yet?" The voice fell, and a thin, gray-robed old man walked in slowly. The Yao Lao looked at the gray-robed old man with a smile and said, "Hee, Elder Ho, you are still alive. How could I die before you?" The gray-robed old man said lightly, with contempt in his tone, "You left the small pill tower on your own initiative that year. I thought you would have the guts to never come back. I heard that you were also planning to participate in the elder election. It has been many years. Let me see if your refining skills have improved." Hearing this, the Yao Lao couldn't help but laugh, shaking his head and responding, "I'm not the one running this time. If you insist on comparing with me, you might as well pass my disciple first, and he is also going to participate in the election." Hearing this, the gray-robed old man looked at Xiao Yan next to him, saw his young face, and his expression immediately sank, sneering, "Is this child also worthy? Yao Chun, I know what purpose you have come here for. After I become an elder, I will let you return without success." Then Elder Ho stopped talking and turned away. The Yao Lao's eyes narrowed slightly, watching the former's receding figure, and said softly, "It seems that we have to let his dream of becoming an elder of the Pill Tower fail this time. What do you think?" Xiao Yan smiled slightly and nodded gently. Before the words fell, a melodious bell suddenly sounded in this space, and then 7 old figures appeared out of thin air on the stone platform of the square. Seeing these 7 elders, many people quickly bowed and said respectfully, "Greet the 7 elders." In the small pill tower, the Great Elders' Court is the highest decision-making body, and these elders naturally have a high status. Moreover, most of them are selected from the small pill tower, and they belong to the kind of people with high virtue and prestige, so their words are highly respected in the small pill tower. Xiao Yan mixed in the crowd. His gaze turned to the 7 elders, and finally stayed on the 4 in the middle. Among these 7 people, the breath of these 4 was particularly strong, especially the middle one wearing a linen shirt with an expressionless face, 2 intermediate half-saints, 1 senior half-saint, and 1 seemed to have reached the strength of a 2-star early Do Sheng. Is this the true power of the Pill Tower? No wonder it can be compared with the Soul Hall. Xiao Yan's gaze was fixed on the old man in linen, and he couldn't help but sigh. That old man is the great elder of the small pill tower, the most senior person besides the ancestor. The Yao Lao explained softly beside Xiao Yan. At this time, the great elder's chin moved slightly, and then his old and calm voice resounded in the field. "Today is a rare lively day in our small pill tower. Everyone is familiar with the selection of elders, and I won't go into details about the rules. The full mountain of medicinal forests is available for alchemists to use, and the one who finally refines the highest grade pill is naturally the winner. Those who have obtained the qualification to participate, please come out." Hearing the great elder's words, there were some respectful voices in the field. Then one figure after another came out from the crowd and found an open area on the square. Seeing this, Xiao Yan also said with a smile, "Then I'll go too." Xinyi responded, "Come on, don't let down your teacher's reputation." Xiao Yan nodded, then squeezed through the crowd. When the people around saw everyone taking out the pill furnace, Xiao Yan slowly stretched out his right hand. The crowd exclaimed in amazement, "Is he going to use the flame as a furnace? Is it too arrogant?"